Every day that goes by, we see one company or another announcing tens of thousands of layoffs.
Yeah.
Is that affecting the negotiation? Is that putting pressure on either side, on both sides?
Well, it would hope it would put pressure on them to do something about crushing the virus. We, for months and months and months, our first bill, March 4th, was about testing, testing, testing. I don't want to go into, the record and the history of that. So now we have a big pillar of this bill about testing, tracing, treatment. Mask wearing, space, sanitation, all of that is very specific in the language, and that's why it's not just the money, it's the language as well, to make sure this gets done, because it is the way to crush the virus so that we can open our economy more broadly and our schools both more safely. So that is, I think, the heart of the matter. And that is now one point related to that is one other obstacle to a quicker resolution of this is the OSHA provisions. We think that in light of, we've always needed stronger OSHA provisions, but in light of the coronavirus, that's very, very important. And it is an opportunity for businesses to get some protection for their workers and for themselves if they implement the strong worker safety provisions. Right now, if you were an essential worker, which I'm sure you are in your field, but if you're at this lower level of employee, you're deemed essential. You must go to work at the meat packing firm or whatever. They haven't implemented any OSHA provisions. You're subjected to catching the virus. If you do, you have no recourse to the employer. You take that home, spread it to your family. But if you say, I'm an essential worker, I don't want to risk my family's health and mine by going to a place that does not have the proper OSHA provision, you don't get unemployment insurance.
Right. Madam Speaker, I want to come back to something.
So we have to make that more decent.
Right. Madam Speaker, I want to come back to something you referred to earlier, and that is the half a loaf versus the whole loaf. Put aside, if we can for a moment, the question you raised about net operating losses and some mischief that may be done. If you could take that away, aren't you better off doing some good for the millions of people who are not having the support they need right now? Because if we don't get it done before the election, we're really talking about going into 2021, aren't we?
Well, let me just say this. This isn't half a loaf. What they're offering is the heel of the loaf. We've come down $1 trillion. Then we came down $1.2 billion. Pretty soon, we're just having a conversation. We're not really meeting the needs of the American people. And you really can't just say, well, just take this. No, it's a missed opportunity. We're in a negotiation. We're talking about money. We're talking about values. We're talking about the language to implement it. And it's no use going into a negotiation if you say, I'll just take the path of least resistance with the smallest amount of money that gives tax breaks at the high end, less to those who need it the most. And by the way, you know better than I, as I say to you on all these shows, this is a consumer confidence. These people spend this money immediately. It's urgently needed. And inject demand into the economy, create jobs. It's a stimulus.